If you are over 60 and you have been taking vitamin B12 every single day but you still wake up feeling tired, foggy, dizzy, or unsteady on your feet, this message is for you. You are doing the right thing by taking B12, but there is a very good chance you are making a few small mistakes that are quietly canceling out every single benefit that B12 should be giving your body. And the frustrating part is that most doctors never sit down and explain these mistakes to their patients. You keep taking the supplement, you keep hoping things will improve, and yet nothing changes. After today, that changes for good. My name is Dr. James Whitman. I have spent the better part of my career dedicated to one single mission, helping men and women over 60 live longer, stronger, and more vibrant lives. I am a health researcher who has devoted decades to studying aging, nerve health, nutritional science, and the very specific ways the body changes after 60. I have worked closely with thousands of seniors across the country, sitting with them, reviewing their habits, and listening to their frustrations. And I have seen the same heartbreaking story repeat itself over and over again. Good people, responsible people, taking their B12 faithfully every single day, yet still suffering from the very symptoms that B12 is supposed to help relieve. The problem is never effort. The problem is never commitment. It is always a strategy, and strategy is exactly what we are going to fix today. Let me start by telling you something that your lab results are most likely hiding from you. When you go in for a routine blood test and your doctor glances at the results and tells you that your B12 levels look perfectly normal, that result can be dangerously misleading. Normal blood levels of B12 do not mean that your nerves are actually receiving the B12 they need to function and repair themselves. This is one of the most overlooked and under-discussed facts in senior health today, and it is the reason so many people feel confused and defeated when their symptoms continue despite doing everything they were told to do. B12 can be floating around in your bloodstream in significant measurable amounts, while your nerve cells are completely starving for it at the same time. Here is why this happens, and I want you to really understand this because it is the foundation of everything that follows. As your body ages, your digestive system goes through natural and very real changes that have a massive impact on how you absorb nutrients. Your stomach begins producing less acid than it used to produce when you were younger. This is a gradual process that most people never notice because there are no obvious symptoms. Alongside this, your body also begins producing significantly less of a critical protein called intrinsic factor. You may have never heard of intrinsic factor before, but it is absolutely essential to the entire B12 absorption process. Without adequate intrinsic factor, the B12 you swallow in a supplement simply cannot bind properly and be absorbed through the walls of your intestines into your blood. It passes right through your body and out the other side. So the problem is not the amount of B12 you are taking. The problem is the fundamental mechanism that your body uses to absorb it has weakened with age, and after 60, this absorption challenge becomes the single most important issue that most B12 supplements on the market completely fail to address. Now, I want to walk you through the specific mistakes I see seniors making most often when it comes to their B12 supplementation. These are not rare or unusual situations. These are consistent patterns I have observed again and again in people who are genuinely trying to take care of themselves but are unknowingly working against their own bodies in the process. Each individual mistake causes harm on its own. But when several of these mistakes happen together at the same time, which is extremely common, they stack on top of each other and cancel out every single benefit that B12 should be providing you. The first and perhaps most widespread mistake is the physical form in which people take their B12. The vast majority of seniors reach for a standard tablet or capsule that they swallow down with a glass of water and move on with their morning. This feels completely logical. It feels like doing something responsible and healthy for yourself. But here is the truth that most supplement companies will never put on their labels. When you swallow a B12 tablet, It travels all the way down through your esophagus and into your stomach and intestines, where it depends entirely on intrinsic factor and adequate stomach acid to be properly released and absorbed into your bloodstream. After 60, as I just explained, both your intrinsic factor production and your stomach acid levels have declined significantly. That tablet you swallow may travel through your entire digestive system almost completely unused, delivering almost nothing to the nerve cells that desperately need it. Changing the delivery method, not the dose, is often the single most powerful and immediate shift a senior can make. When B12 is taken in sublingual form, meaning it is placed directly under the tongue and allowed to dissolve slowly, it is absorbed straight through the delicate tissue lining the floor of your mouth and enters your bloodstream quickly and efficiently. It completely bypasses the stomach. It completely bypasses the need for intrinsic factor. It sidesteps the very part of the process that has weakened with age. Many seniors report a noticeable difference in their energy, mental sharpness, and physical steadiness within just 2 to 3 weeks of making this one simple change. Nothing else changed. Same B12, same dose. Only the delivery method was different, and that difference alone was enough to finally start moving the needle. The second mistake is one that requires you to flip over your supplement bottle and actually read the ingredient label. Most B12 supplements, including some of the most popular, most heavily advertised, and most widely sold brands at every pharmacy and grocery store, contain a form of B12 called cyanocobalamin. This is a synthetic laboratory-created form of B12. It is significantly cheaper to manufacture, which is the primary reason it ends up in the majority of supplements on the shelf. But cyanocobalamin is not the form your body actually uses to repair nerves, produce red blood cells, and support your brain. Your body must first take the cyanocobalamin and convert it through a multi-step process into an active and usable form. This conversion requires your liver to be functioning well and requires specific enzymes to be working at full capacity. After 60, both liver efficiency and enzyme activity naturally slow down as part of the normal aging process. So what happens is this: you swallow your cyanocobalamin supplement every morning. Your body receives it, but the conversion process works too slowly and too inefficiently to produce enough active B12 to meet the needs of your nervous system. The B12 never becomes truly useful. The active forms that bypass this entire problem are called methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin. These forms are already in the state your body needs. They require no conversion. They are ready to work the moment they enter your bloodstream. Seniors who make the switch from cyanocobalamin to methylcobalamin frequently report meaningful improvements in nerve-related symptoms, including tingling and burning sensations in the hands and feet, difficulty with balance and coordination, unexplained fatigue, and the kind of mental fog that makes it hard to think clearly or remember things. The form of B12 in your supplement is not a small or minor detail. It is one of the most important decisions you can make. The third mistake is one that is incredibly common and surprisingly easy to overlook because it does not feel like a mistake at all. It is inconsistency. Many seniors take B12 on the days they remember, or on the days they feel particularly run down and tired, or a few times a week when the bottle happens to catch their eye. And I understand this completely. Life is full and unpredictable, and memory does not always cooperate the way we would like it to. But this pattern of inconsistent use fundamentally undermines the entire purpose of taking B12 in the first place. Your nerves do not repair themselves in short, concentrated bursts. Nerve tissue, and especially the protective sheath called myelin that surrounds and insulates your nerve fibers, repairs itself slowly and continuously over time. This process requires a stable and dependable supply of B12 every single day without interruption. When you skip days or take your B12 only occasionally, you disrupt the ongoing repair cycle right at the moments when it should be building momentum. The body prioritizes its most urgent functions first, and when the B12 supply becomes unreliable, nerve repair gets pushed to the back of the line. The improvements that come from consistent daily use are not dramatic or sudden. They are quiet and gradual, but they are real and they are cumulative. Over weeks and months of steady daily use, numbness begins to soften. Tingling becomes less frequent. Mental clarity slowly returns. Energy becomes more even and sustained throughout the day. But none of this happens without consistency as the foundation. Consistency is not optional when it comes to nerve health. It is the most basic and essential requirement. Now let me talk about timing and hydration, because these two factors are dismissed as unimportant by most people, and yet they have a real and measurable impact on how effectively B12 does its job inside your body. A very large number of seniors take their B12 in the evening, often right before bed, because it fits conveniently into their nighttime routine. On the surface, this seems perfectly harmless, but B12 is an energizing nutrient that is directly involved in how your cells produce energy. Taking it late in the evening can subtly but genuinely interfere with the quality of your sleep, even when you do not consciously feel more alert or stimulated. You may fall asleep without difficulty but never reach the deeper, more restorative stages of sleep that your body needs. And poor sleep is one of the most destructive forces working against your nervous system. When your sleep quality is compromised, your body produces higher levels of inflammatory compounds overnight. Inflammation is directly toxic to nerve tissue and directly slows down the repair processes that B12 is trying to support. So, by taking B12 at the wrong time of day, you are unknowingly creating a situation where it works against itself. The simple and effective solution is to take your B12 in the morning or early afternoon. This works with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them. You get the energy benefit during the hours when you want and need it, and your nervous system gets a clean, inflammation-free environment to carry out its repair work through the night while you sleep. Water intake is the other factor that most people never connect to their B12 results, and yet it matters more than most people realize. Your circulatory system depends on adequate fluid to move nutrients efficiently through your blood to every single tissue and cell in your body. Nerve tissue is no exception. When you are even mildly dehydrated, and mild dehydration is extremely common in adults over 60 because the sensation of thirst weakens naturally with age, the efficiency of nutrient transport throughout your body drops noticeably. The B12 that is circulating in your blood takes longer to reach nerve cells, and in lower concentrations than it should. Drinking enough clean water spread consistently throughout the day is a direct and meaningful factor in whether your B12 actually arrives at the places in your body where it is most urgently needed. There is one more critical area I need to address, and it involves the medications that many seniors take daily to manage other health conditions. This is an area where I see a great deal of confusion and a great deal of unintentional harm being done. Certain prescription medications that are very commonly prescribed to people over 60 have a direct and well-documented effect on your body's ability to absorb and use B12. Proton pump inhibitors and other acid-blocking medications, which are prescribed in enormous numbers for acid reflux, heartburn, and stomach ulcers, work by reducing the level of acid in your stomach. This is exactly what they are supposed to do for those conditions. But because stomach acid also plays an essential role in freeing B12 from food and from supplement tablets so that it can be absorbed, these medications significantly reduce your B12 absorption with long-term use. Metformin is another important example. It is one of the most widely prescribed medications in the world for managing type 2 diabetes, and research has consistently shown that long-term use of metformin significantly reduces B12 absorption in many patients. If you have been taking metformin for years and you are experiencing nerve symptoms, the connection between the two deserves serious attention and a direct conversation with your doctor. Certain antibiotics can also disrupt the bacterial environment in your gut in ways that interfere with nutrient absorption for weeks or even months after completing the course. Again, the answer is not to stop your medications. These medications are playing an important role in your overall health. The answer is to recognize that your B12 strategy needs to account for these interactions and compensate accordingly. More attention to form, delivery method, dosage, and consistency becomes even more essential when medications are working against your absorption at the same time. Here is what a properly designed B12 protocol looks like for someone over 60 who is serious about protecting and restoring their nerve health. You choose methylcobalamin, or a combination of methylcobalamin and adenosylcobalamin, and you put the cyanocobalamin bottles back on the shelf permanently. You take it in sublingual form every single morning or early afternoon, placing it under your tongue and letting it dissolve fully before swallowing. You use a daily dose in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms, which is the range that research and clinical observation consistently show to be effective for seniors managing absorption difficulties. You take it every day without exception, making it as automatic and non-negotiable as any other part of your morning. You drink adequate water throughout the day to support proper nutrient transport. And you pair your B12 with natural forms of folate and vitamin B6, because these two vitamins are metabolic partners with B12 and work together with it in the biochemical processes that protect your nerves and brain. You monitor your progress through your symptoms, not exclusively through blood test numbers. Ask yourself honest questions every few weeks. Is my energy more stable? Am I thinking more clearly? Has the tingling in my hands or feet changed? Do I feel steadier when I walk? Has my mood improved? These are the real signals that tell you whether your nervous system is responding to the support you are giving it. Blood tests measure what is circulating in your blood. Your symptoms tell you what is actually happening inside your nerves. I want to close by being completely honest with you, because you deserve the full truth and not just the encouraging parts. B12 done correctly is genuinely powerful, but it is not a complete solution to every symptom you may be experiencing, and pretending otherwise would be doing you a disservice. Nerve damage that has been accumulating for many years may not fully reverse even with a perfect protocol applied with total consistency. If you have diabetes, the elevated blood sugar itself is causing ongoing direct damage to your nerve fibers at a level that B12 cannot fully overcome without blood sugar being brought under proper control at the same time. Chronic inflammation stemming from other health conditions reduces how effectively any nutrient can do its job in the body. And there are conditions that produce symptoms that feel identical to B12 deficiency: numbness, weakness, shooting pain, loss of balance, but have entirely different causes. Spinal stenosis, which is a narrowing of the spaces in the spine, can compress nerves and produce these exact symptoms. Compression in the cervical region of the neck can cause numbness and tingling throughout the arms and hands. Carpal tunnel syndrome creates burning and numbness in the fingers that mimics nerve damage from B12 deficiency almost perfectly. B12 will not correct a structural problem in your spine or your wrist. This is why proper medical evaluation matters alongside everything else. Do not assume every uncomfortable symptom comes down to B12. Get examined. Ask questions. Ask specifically about nerve function. Ask about structural causes. Ask your doctor how your current medications may be affecting your nutrient levels over time. Be your own advocate. What I want you to carry forward from everything shared here today is this: taking B12 is not enough. Good intentions are not enough. The form of B12 you take matters enormously. The way it enters your body matters enormously. Taking it every single day without gaps matters enormously. Taking it at the right time of day matters. Keeping yourself properly hydrated matters. Understanding the impact of your medications on absorption matters. When all of these pieces are in place and working together, B12 can do what it is genuinely capable of doing: protecting your nerves, supporting your brain, restoring your energy, and helping you feel more like yourself again. You are over 60, and that means your body deserves a smarter and more intentional approach than the one most supplement labels will ever tell you about. The changes are simple. They are affordable. They are completely within your reach starting today. Normal blood levels do not guarantee healthy nerves. Form, delivery, dosage, timing, consistency, hydration, and an understanding of your own medications together determine whether your B12 works or whether it silently passes through your body doing nothing at all. Get the strategy right. Stay consistent. Give your nervous system the steady daily support it needs, because you deserve to feel strong, clear-headed, balanced, and fully alive, not just on your best days, but every single day.